Dr. Alan Wright stared at his computer screen, rubbing his tired eyes. The signal patterns didn't make sense. For 3 weeks, the Deep Space Monitoring Station had picked up strange radio bursts from somewhere beyond Neptune. At first, he thought, it was equipment failure, but the pattern was too regular, too precise. Alan reached for his phone and dialed his supervisor. "Sir, I think you need to see this," he said. "These signals, they're not natural." 2 days later, Kate Summers arrived at the NASA facility. Her military uniform stood out among the scientists' casual clothes. As the government's top consultant on potential extraterrestrial threats, she rarely left her office in Washington. This had to be serious. "Show me everything," Kate said, not bothering with pleasantries. Alan pulled up the data. "Look at the pattern. It repeats every 17.3 minutes, but with subtle variations. It's a communication system, but nothing like ours." Kate leaned closer to the screen. "Can you decode it?" "Working on it," Alan said. "But there's more. 6 satellites have stopped working in the past week. No explanation." Kate's face darkened. "That's why I'm here. The Pentagon thinks something is happening." When Alan and Kate presented their findings to the United Nations Security Council, most officials seemed skeptical. "Aliens? Really? This sounds like science fiction," said the French representative. The Russian delegate nodded in agreement. "Perhaps it is solar flare activity, or American weapons testing." Kate kept her temper. "With all due respect, the evidence suggests an intelligent, non-Earth origin. We recommend immediate global preparations for possible contact." The meeting ended without a clear decision. Only a few countries took the warning seriously. Back at NASA, Alan worked day and night to decode the signals. Kate arranged for military protection of key infrastructure, despite limited support. Then everything changed. On a Tuesday morning, every astronomical observatory on Earth detected objects entering the solar system. They moved at impossible speeds, slowing as they approached Mars. "How many?" Kate asked during an emergency video call. Alan looked grim. "At least 30 large objects, each about half a mile long. Based on their deceleration, they'll reach Earth orbit in 3 days." The president finally addressed the nation that evening. "We have reason to believe Earth will soon experience first contact with an extraterrestrial civilization. There is no cause for panic." But people did panic. Streets filled with protesters and religious groups. Some fled cities while others celebrated what they called humanity's greatest moment. In his lab, Alan made a breakthrough. "Kate, I've partially decoded their language. It's based on mathematical principles." Kate rushed over. "What are they saying?" Alan's face was pale. "It's military communication. They're discussing deployment positions and..." He hesitated. "Resistance elimination protocols." "They're not coming in peace," Kate whispered. The next day, Alan and Kate managed to translate more messages. The aliens called themselves something that roughly translated to the Dominion. They had conquered other worlds before. Earth was just their next target. When Kate presented this evidence to world leaders, the response changed. Emergency military preparations began worldwide. People were advised to stock supplies and prepare for possible evacuation. Scientists worked frantically to develop potential defenses. Engineers tried to adapt missile systems to target the approaching ships. Religious leaders called for prayer. Some people built bunkers while others simply waited. Alan and Kate worked together throughout those final days, trying to find any weakness in the alien communications. If we can disrupt their signals, maybe we can. The alien ships hovered over major cities around the world. New York, London, Beijing, Moscow, Delhi, Tokyo, all stood silent under enormous shadow disks. People filled the streets, some in fear, others in wonder. The military mobilized quickly, but no one knew what to do against such advanced technology. Colonel Jack Nelson paced the underground command center beneath the Pentagon. As head of the newly formed Alien Defense Unit, he felt the weight of humanity on his shoulders. "I want all available jets in the air," he ordered. "Keep them at a safe distance, but ready to engage." Next to him, Communications specialist Olivia Patel worked frantically to establish contact. Her fingers flew across the keyboard as she tried different frequency patterns. "I'm sending basic greeting messages in all known languages and mathematical sequences," she said. No response yet. The president authorized a diplomatic approach. A small team, including Olivia, flew toward the ship hovering over Washington, D.C. in a helicopter with white flags. They broadcast messages of peace on all frequencies. The aliens responded with a beam of blue light that cut the helicopter in half. It crashed into the Potomac River. There were no survivors. Minutes later, similar diplomatic attempts around the world met the same fate. Then, without warning, the aliens attacked. Energy beams struck military bases across the globe. The Andrews Air Force Base, Russia's Kubinka Air Base, and China's Western Theater Command were destroyed in seconds. A voice suddenly came through on all electronic devices worldwide. It spoke in perfect English with a flat, mechanical tone. "Humans of Earth, we are the Vraxians. Your planet has resources we require. Your species is inferior and will be harvested or eliminated. Resistance is futile. Surrender immediately." Colonel Nelson slammed his fist on the table. "Like hell we will." He ordered immediate counterattacks. Fighter jets launched missiles at the alien ships. Ground forces fired everything they had, nuclear-armed. Submarines prepared to launch. Nothing worked. Missiles exploded harmlessly against invisible shields. Tank shells bounced off. Even the few nuclear weapons that were launched detonated before reaching their targets, as if the aliens could trigger them remotely. In the chaos, Alan Wright and Kate Summers worked from a hidden bunker in Colorado. They analyzed the alien transmissions looking for any weakness. "Their communication uses a specific band of radio waves," Alan said, pointing to his screen. "It's like nothing we've seen before." Kate leaned forward. "Wait, look at this pattern. When we transmitted on this frequency earlier, their shields flickered over New Mexico." Alan's eyes widened. "You're right. Let me check something." He ran tests on different frequencies, comparing them to the alien transmission patterns. After hours of work, his face lit up. "I think I found something," he said. "Their shields seem to weaken when exposed to specific radio frequencies. It's like hitting the right musical note to shatter a glass." Kate immediately called Colonel Nelson. "We may have a weakness, sir." But before they could test their theory, the Vraxians began their ground invasion. Smaller ships descended into cities. Alien soldiers with sleek armor and weapons that fired. Energy bolts marched through streets. They looked almost human in shape but moved with unusual grace. Their faces remained hidden behind smooth, reflective helmets. People fled or hid wherever they could. Some fought back with whatever weapons they had, but ordinary guns seemed to barely damage the alien armor. By nightfall, the Vraxians controlled sections of every major city worldwide. They set up strange, humming devices at intersections. Anyone who approached too closely collapsed in pain. In his command center, Colonel Nelson received reports of defeats from around the world. Military forces were in retreat everywhere. But he refused to give up. "Get me in touch with Wright and Summers," he ordered. "If they've found a weakness, we need to exploit it immediately." As the sun set on the first day of the invasion, humanity faced its darkest hour. But in hidden places, people began to organize. The alien weakness to certain frequencies might be the key to fighting back. The invasion had begun, but so had the resistance. "Confuse them," Alan suggested. "It's worth trying," Kate agreed. "We'll need every advantage." On the third day, without warning, the sky changed. Massive ships appeared in Earth's orbit, visible even in daylight as dark shapes crossing the sun. Earth's long-held question had been answered. Humanity was not alone in the universe, and the visitors had not come as friends. 3 months after the Vraxians arrived, Earth looked very different. Cities lay partly in ruins. Alien towers rose from the rubble, pulsing with strange lights. The invaders had established control zones where they harvested Earth's resources and processed humans for labor. But humans are hard to conquer completely. In the Appalachian Mountains, a group of survivors gathered in an old mining complex. The narrow tunnels kept them hidden from alien scanners. Among them was Peter Collins, once a high school science teacher, now a resistance leader. Peter studied a sample under his makeshift microscope. The green fluid had come from a dead Vraxian soldier, killed in an ambush last week. "This is incredible," he said to the people around him. "Their biology is completely different from ours. And look what happens when I add this." He placed a drop of ordinary pond water into the sample. The alien cells quickly broke down. "Earth bacteria attacks them like nothing I've ever seen," Peter explained. "Their immune systems have no defense against it. They're not adapted to our planet at all." This discovery spread quickly through the hidden human networks. The Vraxians had technology, but humans had knowledge of Earth. It might be enough to give them a chance. In what was once downtown Detroit, Lisa Donovan led a different kind of resistance. A former police officer, she organized a network of cells that gathered information and planned strikes against the aliens. "They can't be everywhere at once," she told her team as they huddled in a basement. "And they still don't understand how humans think. We can use that." Lisa's network had learned to avoid the aliens' detection systems. They used old technology, radios, printed maps, and face-to-face meetings. Nothing digital that the Vraxians could track. One day, Lisa's team captured a prize, a damaged alien scout ship that had crashed in a forest. More importantly, they found its pilot still alive. The alien was brought to the Resistance's hidden base, where Frank Martinez examined the ship. Frank had been an engineer before the invasion. Now he worked to understand the alien technology. "Their power systems are based on principles we barely understand," Frank said, pointing to glowing components. "But I think I can make this work, for us." Within weeks, Frank had reverse-engineered parts of the alien technology. He created weapons that could penetrate Vraxian armor. They weren't pretty, a mix of human and alien tech held together with duct tape and hope, but they worked. Meanwhile, resistance groups worldwide shared what they learned through an old-fashioned shortwave radio network. The Vraxians couldn't monitor all frequencies at once, especially since they focused on modern digital communications. In Japan, survivors discovered the aliens needed special atmospheres in their ships. In Brazil, people found ways to disrupt the aliens' harvesting machines. Every day, humans learned more about their enemy. Colonel Nelson, operating from a mobile command center, coordinated these scattered resistance groups. His hair had gone gray, and new lines marked his face, but his eyes still burned with determination. "The Vraxians made a mistake," he told his officers. "They thought we'd surrender. They don't understand what humans are capable of when fighting for survival." The tide began to turn when Peter Collins's discovery about bacteria led to a biological weapon that could be deployed against the aliens. Lisa Donovan's network spread the formula worldwide. Frank Martinez's adapted weapons allowed humans to fight back more effectively. For the first time, Vraxian soldiers began to fall in significant numbers. The Resistance planned their first major coordinated strike. The target, an alien outpost in what was once Atlanta. Teams approach. The captured Vraxian sat in a reinforced cell beneath an old hospital. Dr. Heather Clark studied it through a thick glass window. As a biologist who once worked for the CDC, she now led the team trying to understand their enemy. The alien looked almost human from a distance, but up close the differences were clear. Its skin had a pale blue tint, 6 fingers spread from each hand. Its eyes were large, entirely black with no visible pupils. "It refuses to speak," Heather told Kate Summers, who had arrived to see their prisoner. "But its body language tells us plenty." The alien watched them with those unsettling eyes. It had not eaten for days, refusing all food. "What have you learned?" Kate asked. "Something fascinating," Heather said. "Watch this." She pressed a button. A second Vraxian appeared in an adjacent cell. Immediately, both aliens turned to face each other. They made no sounds, but their postures changed in identical ways at the same time. "They're communicating somehow," Heather explained. "I think they share a collective consciousness. When one learns something, they all know it. That explains their coordinated attacks," Kate said. "But it could also be a weakness. If we could disrupt that connection." While Heather studied the aliens, Colonel Jack Nelson led a dangerous mission. His Special Forces team infiltrated a Vraxian command ship hovering over the ruins of Seattle. Wearing stolen alien armor, they looked enough like Vraxians to avoid immediate detection. They moved through the massive ship, placing small devices at key locations. These weren't bombs, but data extractors designed by Frank Martinez. Each one silently copied alien data and transmitted it back to Resistance headquarters. Jack's team almost made it out undetected, but at the last moment, a Vraxian guard noticed their two human movements. Alarms blared, energy weapons fired. 3 team members fell, but Jack and 2 others escaped with the most important data. Back at headquarters, Alan Wright worked day and night to decode the stolen information. "This is incredible," he told Kate and Colonel Nelson. "According to their records, the Vraxians have invaded 17 other worlds before Earth." "Did any of them fight back successfully?" Jack asked. Alan shook his head. "Not completely. But several put up strong resistance, and the Vraxians recorded everything they learned. The data revealed the Vraxians' true purpose on Earth. They needed our planet's water and specific rare minerals found deep in the crust. They saw humans as either obstacles to remove or labor to use. Most importantly, the data showed patterns in previous invasions. The Vraxians always used the same tactics, the same technologies. They never expected to face serious resistance. "They've become predictable," Kate said. "That gives us an advantage." While studying the alien data, Alan made another discovery. He played a recording of various Earth sounds for their captive aliens. Most had no effect, but when he played certain sound frequencies, the aliens showed physical distress. "Look at this," Alan said excitedly. "Their neural systems are extremely sensitive to these specific sound patterns. It's like a dog whistle for Vraxians." Heather confirmed his findings through biological tests. Their auditory systems are connected directly to their collective consciousness. The right frequencies could disrupt their ability to coordinate. With this knowledge, Resistance engineers developed sonic disruptors, weapons that emitted precisely targeted sound waves. In tests against captive Vraxians, the weapons left them disoriented and unable to communicate with each other. Production of these new weapons began immediately in hidden factories around the world. The Resistance now had a way to fight back that didn't rely just on brute force. Meanwhile, the Vraxians noticed the increasing effectiveness of human resistance. Their losses mounted. The commander of the invasion force sent new orders to all ships: accelerate the resource extraction, increase human processing, and eliminate all resistance with maximum force. For the first time, the aliens began to consider that this planet might be more trouble than expected. Humans were proving surprisingly difficult to conquer. The invaders had no way of knowing that their greatest challenges still lay ahead. Humanity was just beginning to show its true strength. From all sides, using the sewers and subway tunnels to get close undetected. As night fell, Colonel Nelson gave the signal. The Resistance attacked with everything they had. Frank's weapons cut through alien defenses. Peter's biological agents forced the Vraxians to retreat to their ships. By morning, the outpost had fallen. It was small, but it was a victory, the first real one since the invasion began. Humanity had started to fight back. 1 year had passed since the Vraxians arrived. Earth was scarred but not defeated. Humans had learned, adapted, and grown stronger. The time had come to take back their planet. Lisa Donovan stood before a map of what was once Chicago. Now it held one of the largest Vraxian bases in North America. Red pins marked alien patrol routes. Blue pins showed their communication towers. "Operation Thunderclap begins at dawn," she told the assembled fighters. "Every resistance cell worldwide will strike at exactly the same time." Her team had trained for months. Each person knew their role. Some would create distractions. Others would target the communication towers. The most skilled fighters would penetrate the main base. Similar meetings happened in hidden locations around the world. After months of planning, the global resistance was ready for the largest coordinated attack since the invasion began. As the sun rose, Peter Collins drove an old crop duster plane toward the Chicago base. The plane's tank carried no pesticides, but instead a concentrated version of his biological weapon, Earth bacteria, enhanced to spread quickly through Vraxian respiratory systems. "Delivery in 3 minutes," Peter said into his radio. "All units prepare to move in." Below, Lisa's team waited in the ruins of buildings. They carried sonic disruptors designed by Frank Martinez. The weapons looked like bulky rifles with strange dishes at the end. Each emitted the precise frequencies that disrupted Vraxian neural networks. At exactly 6 a.m. Chicago time, Peter's plane swooped low over the alien base. A fine mist sprayed from behind it. At the same moment, resistance fighters worldwide launched their attacks. In the ruins of London, fighters disabled a harvesting facility. In Beijing, they attacked the main command center. In Rio de Janeiro, Sydney, Cairo, and dozens of other locations, humans struck back as one. The Vraxians were caught off guard. For the first time, they faced attacks everywhere at once. Their collective consciousness, usually an advantage, became a weakness. The confusion in one location spread to all others. Peter's bacterial spray worked quickly. Vraxian soldiers began to stumble and fall. Their breathing systems, designed for their home atmosphere, couldn't filter out the Earth microbes. Lisa led her team through the weakened defenses. They fired sonic disruptors at any alien still standing. The sound waves, inaudible to humans, caused the Vraxians to clutch their heads and collapse. The team reached the central communication hub. They planted explosive charges, then retreated to safe distance. The explosion destroyed the tower in a burst of blue flame. Similar victories occurred worldwide. By midday, humans had reclaimed territories in every major city. For the first time, Vraxian forces retreated in large numbers. In orbit, aboard the main command ship, the Vraxian leader recognized the severity of the situation. It sent an urgent message toward its distant homeworld. The message requested reinforcements and admitted that the primitive humans had proven unexpectedly dangerous. Kate Summers, working with the Resistance's communication team, intercepted this message. "We need to decode this quickly," she told Alan Wright. They worked through the night, applying everything they had learned about the alien language. By morning, Kate had the translation. "They're calling for help," she told Colonel Nelson. "Reinforcements are coming from their homeworld." "How long do we have?" Nelson asked. "The message says 6 months for the reinforcement fleet to arrive," Kate said. "We have that long to finish this." Colonel Nelson immediately called an emergency meeting with all resistance leaders, connecting through their secure radio network. Representatives from every continent joined the call. "We've hurt them badly," Nelson said, "but now we know they're calling for backup. We have 6 months to end this invasion before more of them arrive." The leaders debated strategies. Some wanted to focus on destroying the remaining Vraxian bases. Others suggested capturing more of their technology. Finally, they agreed on a plan. A unified global of the abandoned car factory now served a new purpose. Frank Martinez walked between long assembly lines where workers built weapons instead of vehicles. Hundreds of people worked in shifts, creating sonic disruptors and other anti-Vraxian devices. "We've doubled production this month," Frank told Colonel Nelson, who had come to inspect the operation. "Every resistance cell worldwide will have these weapons soon." Nelson nodded in approval. "How's the new project coming along?" Frank led him to a restricted area at the back of the factory. Inside stood something that would have seemed impossible a year ago, a working Vraxian fighter ship. The small craft had been captured, repaired, and modified by Frank's team. "We've figured out how to fly it," Frank said. "More importantly, we've learned how their weapon systems work." This knowledge spread to hidden factories around the world. Humans began manufacturing their own versions of alien technology. The weapons weren't as advanced as Vraxian originals, but they worked. And Earth had something the Vraxians didn't: billions of determined people ready to use them. In London, Olivia Patel prepared for the most important broadcast of her life. The communications specialist had spent months developing a system that could override Vraxian frequencies worldwide. "All stations report ready," her assistant said. "We can broadcast to every resistance cell simultaneously." Olivia checked her equipment one last time. "Begin transmission in 3, 2, 1. She pressed the button. The signal went out on all frequencies. But this wasn't just a message for human fighters. Hidden within the broadcast was a carefully designed disruption pattern targeting the frequencies Vraxians used to communicate. Across the planet, alien ships suddenly lost contact with each other. Their coordinated movements became confused. Some crashed, others fired on their own kind by mistake. The collective consciousness that made them strong was temporarily shattered. This was the moment humanity had been waiting for. Colonel Nelson gave the order for the global offensive to begin. Military forces, rebuilt from the remnants of Earth's armies and strengthened by new recruits, launched synchronized attacks on all major Vraxian strongholds. They used tanks retrofitted with alien technology, jets armed with sonic weapons, and infantry carrying disruptors. Dr. Clark's team deployed the latest version of their biological agent. Canisters released clouds of microscopic Earth bacteria, specially cultivated to target Vraxian biology. The aliens had no defense against these invisible attackers that had evolved on Earth over billions of years. The Vraxians fought back fiercely. Their weapons still outmatched human technology in many ways, but they had lost the advantage of perfect coordination, and they faced enemies who fought with the desperate courage of those defending their home. City by city, region by region, humans pushed the invaders back. The price was high. Thousands died in the fighting. But for each fallen human, many more stepped forward to take their place. After weeks of intense combat, the Vraxians retreated to 5 major strongholds around the planet. These final bases held their command centers, the bulk of their remaining forces and their most powerful weapons. Alan Wright, working with data captured during the offensive, made a disturbing discovery. He rushed to find Kate and Colonel Nelson. The Vraxians have activated countdown sequences in all 5 strongholds, he explained, pointing to decoded transmissions. If they can't win, they plan to use their power cores as bombs. The explosions would devastate entire continents. Kate's face paled. How long do we have? 72 hours, Alan said. Nelson immediately called an emergency meeting of resistance leaders. As they gathered, a transmission came through on all channels. The image of a Vraxian commander appeared on screens worldwide. Humans, it said, in that flat mechanical voice. Your resistance has proven costly, but it changes nothing. Either surrender now, or we will destroy your world rather than lose it. You have 3 of your days to comply. Nelson looked at the grim faces around him. They're not bluffing, but neither are we. The final phase of the war had begun. Humanity had 3 days to prevent global catastrophe and end the Vraxian threat forever. Offensive aimed at eliminating all Vraxian forces before reinforcements could arrive. As the meeting ended, Nelson looked at the tired faces around him. 1 year ago, they thought we would surrender easily. They didn't understand what they were dealing with. In 6 months, we'll show them exactly what humanity is capable of when fighting for survival. The countdown had begun. 6 months to save Earth from an even larger invasion force. 6 months to wipe out the Vraxians once and for all. 3 days, 72 hours to save the world. Colonel Nelson stood before a wall map showing the 5 Vraxian strongholds, 1 in North America, 1 in Europe, 1 in Asia, 1 in Africa, and 1 in South America. Red circles marked the estimated blast radius if the alien power cores detonated. We need 5 teams, Nelson said to the assembled leaders. 1 for each location. Their mission is to enter the strongholds and disable the self-destruct devices. Kate Summers studied the plans for the North American stronghold located in the ruins of Denver. I'll lead the team there, she said. Nelson nodded. I'm going with you. This is the main command center. Similar teams formed for the other locations. Lisa Donovan would lead the European team. Special forces from China and Russia would tackle the Asian stronghold. Brazilian resistance fighters volunteered for South America, and a mixed group from Egypt, Kenya, and South Africa would attack the African base. Peter Collins worked frantically in his lab. The self-destruct devices have a unique energy signature, he told the team leaders. I found a way to neutralize them, but we need to get close, within 50 meters. He distributed special devices to each team. They looked like thick silver discs with blinking lights. These will emit a counter frequency that should disable the detonation mechanism. Should is the key word here. I can't test them fully without an actual alien device. Frank Martinez added his own contribution. I've modified our sonic disruptors to operate at maximum power. They'll drain quickly, but they should knock out any Vraxians within range instantly. As the teams prepared, Alan Wright worked with Olivia Patel to coordinate communication between all groups. We'll maintain contact as long as possible, Olivia said. But once you're inside the strongholds, their jamming fields may block our signals. Cities worldwide began evacuating civilians from areas near the alien strongholds. Endless lines of people moved away from danger zones carrying what little they could. Not everyone could leave in time. Many volunteered to stay behind and support the attacking teams. At dawn on the final day, all 5 teams moved toward their targets. Kate and Nelson led 30 elite fighters toward the Denver stronghold. They traveled through sewers and subway tunnels to avoid detection. 2 hours until detonation, Alan's voice crackled through their radios. All teams in position. Kate peered through binoculars at the alien structure. It rose like a twisted metal tree from the city center, pulsing, with blue energy. Heavy guard presence, she reported. At least 50 Vraxians patrolling the perimeter. Nelson gave the signal. From multiple positions around the stronghold, resistance fighters fired modified rocket launchers. The projectiles didn't target the structure itself, but instead burst in the air above it, releasing clouds of Peter's bacterial agent. The Vraxian guards began to stumble as the microscopic attackers invaded their systems. Kate and Nelson led their team forward, sonic disruptors ready. They breached the outer defenses easily enough. But as they pushed deeper into the stronghold, resistance stiffened. Vraxians wearing protective gear blocked their path. Energy weapons fired, cutting down 3 team members in seconds. Nelson directed covering fire while Kate led a smaller group toward the central chamber where the power core pulsed with increasing intensity. 1 hour remaining, Alan's voice warned through bursts of static. In Europe, Lisa Donovan's team had already reached their target but found themselves trapped in a firefight with desperate aliens. In Asia, the combined Chinese-Russian force pushed forward despite heavy losses. The South American team reported success in breaching their stronghold's outer defenses. But the African team had gone silent. No one knew if they were still alive, let alone close to their target. Kate's group finally reached the central chamber and Kate Summers ducked behind a fallen column as energy blasts struck around her. The Vraxian commander fired relentlessly, its weapon more powerful than those of regular soldiers. Colonel Nelson and 2 remaining team members provided covering fire, but they were pinned down. 40 minutes until detonation, Alan's voice warned through their radios. Above Earth, 5 massive Vraxian ships moved into position. The reinforcements had arrived ahead of schedule, responding to the desperate call from their invasion force. His hidden command center, Alan Wright, worked frantically at his computer. For months he had studied Vraxian systems, learning their code, understanding their networks. Now he put that knowledge to use. I'm going to try something, he told Olivia. The Vraxians use a central control system for all their ships. If I can access it. His fingers flew across the keyboard, sending carefully crafted code through captured Vraxian communication devices. He had one chance to get this right. In Denver, Kate saw her opportunity when the commander paused to adjust its weapon. She sprinted forward, diving behind a closer barrier. Only 20 meters from the power core now, she needed to get closer. Nelson understood her plan. "Cover Kate," he shouted, then stood and fired his sonic disruptor at maximum power. The other team members did the same. The combined sonic blast hit the Vraxian guards with overwhelming force. 4 collapsed immediately. Only the commander remained standing, its protective gear partially shielding it from the effect. Kate ran toward the power core, Peter's neutralizing device in hand. The commander turned its weapon toward her. Nelson threw himself into the commander's line of fire. Energy blast struck him in the chest. He fell, but his sacrifice gave Kate the seconds she needed. She reached the power core and slammed Peter's device against the control panel. Lights blinked as it powered up. The countdown continued. "Come on," Kate whispered. "Work." The device emitted a pulse of energy. The control panel flickered, then went dark. The countdown stopped with 12 minutes remaining. Similar scenes played out at the other strongholds. In Europe, Lisa Donovan's team successfully disabled their device. In Asia, the combined force succeeded despite heavy losses. The South American team reported success as well. And in Africa, thought lost, a lone survivor managed to reach the core and activate the neutralizer with just 2 minutes to spare. All 5 self-destruct devices were disabled. Earth would not be destroyed today. But the battle wasn't over. The reinforcement fleet posed a new threat. 5 massive ships, each larger than the original invasion force, prepared to attack. In his command center, Alan Wright finally broke through the Vraxian security systems. "I'm in," he told Olivia. "I have access to their main control network." He sent commands that rippled through the Vraxian fleet. Suddenly, the ship's weapons turned toward each other. Alien captains found their controls unresponsive. The collective consciousness that connected all Vraxians became their greatest vulnerability. In her lab, Dr. Heather Clark put the finishing touches on her most powerful creation yet. The advanced bioweapon targeted the neural connections that made the Vraxian collective consciousness possible. Released into the atmosphere, it would spread worldwide within hours. "It's ready," she told her team. "Release it." Special aircraft took off from bases around the world, releasing the bioweapon. Into high-altitude winds, it spread quickly, entering Vraxian ships through their ventilation systems. Kate, injured but alive, made her way to the roof of the Denver stronghold. There she found a Vraxian shuttle. Using the knowledge gained from Frank's reverse engineering, she powered it up and piloted it into orbit. Other captured shuttles joined her, piloted by brave volunteers. They formed a small fleet of their own, targeting the massive Vraxian ships that Alan had caused to fight each other. The human shuttles fired captured Vraxian weapons at the larger ships' weakened shields. One by one, the reinforcement vessels exploded or fell from orbit. Within hours, it was over. The Vraxian invasion force was destroyed. The aliens who had come to conquer Earth were gone. In the months that followed, humanity began to rebuild. Cities rose from ruins. The technology salvaged from Vraxian ships advanced Earth sciences by centuries. A new international space defense system was established to prevent future invasions. Kate Summers, now General Summers, led this effort. One evening, a year after the victory, Kate and Alan stood on a hillside looking at the stars. "Do you think they'll come back?" Alan asked. Kate shook her head. "I doubt it. Word will spread through the galaxy about what happened here, about how the humans of Earth defeated the mighty Vraxian Empire." She smiled. "I think we've earned our place among the stars, and a reputation that will make others think twice before targeting Earth again." High above, a small probe left our solar system. On its side was a simple message in multiple languages. "We come in peace, but we will defend our home." The universe had a new player. Humanity had survived, and in doing so had shown itself to be a force to be reckoned with. Veer. The power core towered before them, a column of swirling energy connected to the strange device below it, the self-destruct mechanism. 5 Vraxians stood guard, including one wearing ornate armor, clearly a commander. "Get me close enough to use Peter's device," Kate told Nelson. "Covering fire on my mark," Nelson replied. 3, 2, 1. The final confrontation for Earth survival had begun, and above the planet, something new appeared. The first ships of the Vraxian reinforcement fleet, arriving earlier than expected.